So Resolv Data Messenger actually comes with both the Resolv Data Messenger and Resolv Document Delivery functionality inside of the solution. And its purpose is to be able to enable automated communications out to customers in the form of email messages, printed documents, fax, text messages, as well as being able to do electronic files via FTP. And the difference between the two really comes down to Data Messenger is kind of a more advanced model of being able to accomplish it, whereas document delivery is made just for basic sales documents like sales order, purchase order, sales quote, invoice, statements, and the like, where you want to be able to create, a simple document, send an attachment out to your customer. Data Messenger is going to be able to accomplish all of that and more, so we could send messages internally and externally to employees, to vendors, to customers, to salespeople, outside sales reps, so on and so forth. And that could be based off of events that are document related or not. Like it could be if we've added a new item or an item's gone out of stock or anything else along those lines, we have the ability to create the message and be able to send it. So we'll start with document delivery. And as we look at the document delivery configuration, you can see the list of documents that we support, and you have the ability to work with your Crystal reports. And as you can see, this is meant to be fairly simple and straightforward to be able to set up. So first of all, we can specify whether or not we're going to have server-side or client-side email sending, and whether or not we want to consolidate multiple documents into a single email. So for example, if we're emailing our vendor invoices at the end of the day, do we want a one-to-one relationship with the email and attachment per invoice, or do we want to send them one invoice with multiple attachments, or even just a single attachment with multiple invoices in the single attachment? So again, you're going to be able to confirm those things. Another thing that's nice is we can automate the creation of an activity. An activity inside of SAP Business One can be used to document the fact that we sent the message, including a copy of any attachments that were sent, and it allows us to be able to see that directly from the business partner master. As you look, you can see we have both AR and AP based documents, so we can work with the quotations, orders, confirmations to the customer, deliveries, which are basically packing slips, returns, AR invoices, credit memos, statements, and then even blanket agreements. On the purchasing side, you have similar functionality with the purchase quote, purchase order, goods receipt PO, but you also wind up with documents like the container management that are added by Resolv. Now, in this particular case, you can come in here and you can choose from your different Crystal reports. You can also specify a default printer where we want this to print. And then for email, we have the ability for the email to be sent out via an SMTP, via Outlook, or by SAP's built-in SBO mailer functionality. When you're working with SMTP, for example, we can specify its encryption message, so you can have SSL, you can have the TLS. You can also specify if we're using Outlook whether or not we want to include signatures or not, and change the default reply address. For faxing, you can use e-faxing services, such as in this case, efax.com, which is efax send, or you can actually use SAP's native faxing capability, also found in the SBO mailer. But typically we see most people using with an eFax service. Now, one of the things that's nice about the way that document delivery works is that within the document delivery, you're going to be able to set up rules at the business partner contact person level as to who is going to get messages. And so this allows for automation in that regard. So again, at the contact person level, you can see we have the document delivery, and then this is going to allow us to be able to specify who should get emailed either in general, whether or not they should get email, an internal notification, a fax, or a print. Okay, but you can also set different rules up on sales orders, on invoices. So for example, on the invoices, if it's supposed to be somebody else, so let's say it's supposed to be AP that winds up getting a copy of it, you can come in here and then enter in your AP at domain.com, and then be able to have that be the basis for sending that message. Another thing that's nice is if we also wanted to send a copy to a sales rep or something else along those lines, we can add a second row. So this could be, sales rep, and then being able to come in here and send them, again, an email, and maybe they also want a printed copy. And this could be, outside rep at, salesco.com. Okay, So again, you wind up having the ability to send these messages both to the customer directly, to internal and external people, and you can have it where a single document is able to actually generate different emails to different people. And what's nice is that you can either have it use a default report, or maybe I want a separate report for when I'm sending something out to the sales rep that maybe has different details than when I'm sending to the person who is receiving the invoice, for example. So again, they're going to get the sales invoice, and then this person's going to get the alternate invoice or whatever it is that you want to be able to come in here and select. So the basic format, for setting up a customer is to be able to do that. Now you can have different rules at the contact level. You can also have a default for customer as a whole. And then when it comes time to actually sending the message itself is also going to be pretty simple to set up. Where again, we have the ability to create a subject and body. And then here in the subject and body, we can come in here and specify different messages that should be included when we're sending AR invoices. So for example, here you can see we're automatically having our subject be our company name, an invoice, and then the date. And then here you can see we have like dear so and so. If we hit test, you can actually see an example where we have dear Codaline Electronics. Here's your AR invoice for the amount. And then again, we can say thank you and the date. Whereas if I look at the subject, you can see this is OEC Computers AR invoice and the date. So these dynamic fields, they allow us to be able to insert different fields. So we have the ability to insert information about the company itself, the current date, as well as information from the business partner master or the employee or the document or something else along those lines. And if I choose that I want to insert something about the business partner, for example, you can see I have their first name, the last name, their phone number. Again, all of that is user configurable as well. So if I come into the subject and body, I can specify from the document header which fields I want, as you can see, including any user-defined fields that we might add, as well as being able to do same thing from the document line, the customer, the contact person, as well as the owner or employee field, where again, you can actually come in here and choose any field that you want. Um, and we automatically know how to retrieve it to be able to put that into your template. Now, in addition to the document delivery, we also have the ability to set up the data messenger. And again, with data messenger, you'll see it's going to be expanded. So first of all, we can choose to include or exclude holidays. This can be sent automatically with activities. We can update the document status to be printed. You can see we support the ability to work with FTP or SFTP, and then being able to send that out. Again, for email, you have the choice of using the same three choices, SMTP, or Outlook, and how that's going to work. And then for text messages, you can choose what your text message source is going to be from. Now, ultimately, the big difference between the configuration is the ability to come in here and take a look at what's called the message master data. And so the message master data is going to allow us to be able to create a more robust type of message. And so again, here you can see they can be event-based or query-based. So either or is supported, but I can send the message as an email, an FTP to be print to be sent by SAP internally, or a message. And again, you can work with all the different standard documents. The definition of a document is much larger in Data Messenger. So in this particular case, of course, I have all the marketing documents like AR invoices, pick lists, purchase orders. But you'll notice that I can also make a change. So if we update the customer record, or we update an item master record, or a production order, or an inventory transfer, or anything else along those lines, those are all going to be considered in there. You can also work with customized documents. Customized documents allow you to be able to choose if you have any user-defined fields or objects or so on and so forth. But in this case, what's happening with the invoice is I'm able to make it on add or update, cancel, close. And again, I can choose what I want to include in my query. This can be dynamic. So if I come in here and choose AP invoice, for example, and then choose the field selection, and actually I'll just create a new one here. And as I create this new example one, we'll come in here and choose a standard document. and we'll grab the AR invoice. Now I can work with the default query. Um, so in the default query, I can have predefined. So this is the AR invoice, or this is the AR invoice with item level details, either or. So I can come in here and I can choose that and then be able to validate the query. Or if I wasn't using the query, I could also use the field selection to bring up a wizard to help us build this query. Um, Another thing that you have the ability to do is then come in here and choose your recipients. And again, here you can see it knew the rules here around business partner contact and salespeople. And so I was able to come in and choose that. But I can also choose a different type. Like I could come in here and say, I want to work with, let's say, document owner, and then being able to choose what that's going to be. So I could pull from the employees table and then choose different fields from the employees table. So first name, last name, or in this case, email address, or even being able to come into something like other, where I'm able to come in here and pull another field, let's say from the invoice header. Okay. And then as I'm pulling a field from the invoice header, it could be a user defined field or something else along those lines. You're going to be able to choose whether or not it is a, um, a phone number or an email address that we're actively working from as we pull values from the different tables. You can also specify SAP users. So again, this allows me to be able to come in here and choose any user inside of SAP. So I can grab Bill Levine and it automatically knows their email address. You can support the email groups functionality. So if I wanted to be able to have this is where it automatically gets sent to the purchasing agents, I can pull that from the SAP Business One. And then what's nice is the terms. So I can either send it always, so all these people are going to get the message, or I can have it be conditional. And the condition could be based off of something like the document total. So in here, I'm going to say, okay, the document total needs to be greater than, you know, I don't know, $5,000. And if it's greater than $5,000, we're going to send a message to the sales employee. Um, so you can do that, or you can even do advanced. And then if I do advanced, it gives me the ability to have different rules. So instead of just being able to pick a value up here and then choose which ones I want, I can actually come down here and choose greater than or less than or anything else along those lines, um, based off of um, based off of I'll send them an email, but I can have a different rule. So let's say that um, the I don't know, the warehouse code um, is equal to a 1, um, then I want to go ahead and notify a specific employee, and then being able to come in here and choose who the user or the employee is going to be. So in this case, let's just do an SAP user, and I can come in here and choose the SAP users that are associated with it, and we're going to notify them inside of SAP. So as you can see, you can create pretty dynamic and complex rules that are associated with it. Now, once we've specified what we're going to notify people on and who's going to get the notification, the next thing is going to be what we're going to do with the email. So again, I can send emails that are either plain text or HTML based. I can build subjects dynamically. So again, I can right click and be able to choose fields like I want to insert the company name, or maybe I want to insert the document number or something else along those lines. And this is where you have the ability to come in and say, dear first name, last name, whatever it's going to wind up being. So here, dear the document number, please find blah, blah, blah. And you can continue to insert things. So I can insert them from this screen here. I can filter. So if I want to see just, details about the addresses, you can come in here and filter based on that table. If I want to see the item, I can come in and pull information about the item level information, salespeople, so on and so forth. So you can come in here and filter on these different values. You can also right click, and then in your right click, it's going to show you all your different tables, and you can choose that accordingly as well. And then the last thing that's in here that's nice is the ability to come in and do format. So I could actually have it automatically suppress sections. So like, for instance, if I don't want to show a discount or anything else along those lines, if there is none, I can suppress that. We can put in page number. We can format text conditionally based on values, make it red, green, blue, whatever you want to be able to do. And really be able to have a pretty rich body and subject, as well as being able to have attachments that can either be from a crystal report. They can be HTML based themselves. They could be the raw data as an attachment, in which case I can choose if it's going to be an Excel, a PDF, an XML, a CSV. Okay. Um, the file name itself can actually be dynamic. So I can come in here and say, okay, what was the invoice number? Be able to choose the invoice number as the file, for example. We can save the attachments automatically. Again, we can have the system automatically create activities and then choose what type of activity we want to be able to do. So if I want to create a follow-up every time I send out this document, we can come in here and do that. And again, we can override the email settings for this one particular rule, as well as being able to send it by FTP or secure FTP. Again, you can come in here and use the default FTP site, override it, as well as being able to work with different printers, SAP notifications, and text messages. Once again, what winds up happening is you have the ability to look at all of the history associated with Resolve Data Messenger. So if I come into Resolve Data Messenger, we can look at any history to see what's actually been sent and successful, as well as being able to do a manual delivery as well. So if I wanted to override a messaging sequence or resend a document or whatever, you have the ability to come in here and choose, what it is that we want to resend, and then be able to select the different documents to find and resend them.